Hello everybody, Killian here from Nimbus Suspensions. So today we're going to be doing the install of 4 shocks on this beautiful Ineos Grenadier. So this vehicle is already equipped with an IBAC 1-inch lift from the springs. It's not recommended from factory to go above 2 inches of lift on a Grenadier, simply because then you're going to run into issues with the drive shaft and the homocynetic seal, etc. So let's move forward to the install into our workshop. First thing first, we're going to use an impact wrench with a 24mm deep socket, as well as a 24mm box wrench and an 18mm box wrench. The Grenadier is a fairly simple vehicle where you don't need that many tools. So let's go over the front shock first. So this is your lower bolt for the front shock, which is a 24mm bolt. Then we have our lower support going up. We have our pressure valve, which is going to be facing outwards from the vehicle, so towards you when you're doing the install. Your upper support and your upper bolt, which is a 24mm as well. So when we do the install, we're going to put some blue Loctite back on, just to make sure that nothing comes loose. And then we make sure that we torque it to the factory spec from Grenadier. So moving on towards the rear shock, we have our upper shock support right here, which is a 24mm bolt with a 24mm nut. So we're going to use the box wrench to hold it here while we undo the bolt over here. And then your 2 upper nuts are going to be an 18mm. So we can tell the 2 shocks apart because the front shock has the valve right here facing towards you. The rear shock is going to be facing towards the rear of the vehicle. It's on the side of it. So going down, we have our lower support with our lower support bolts. So same thing as the front and as the upper one, you have 24mm nuts with your 24mm bolts. We're going to use the box wrench as well to hold this end while we screw this end in. We can go ahead and use some blue Loctite as well to go ahead and make sure everything holds together and nothing moves. Those have to be torqued to factory spec as well, but we maintain the factory hardware. So once everything is removed, we're going to go ahead and start up with the rear. So you have this support right here, which is going to come in right on top of our upper support for the shock. And then we have our bolt, which is going to insert through. And then we can go ahead and tighten this end to factory spec using a 24mm box wrench on this end and our impact on the other end. Okay, so to make things easier, we've removed the upper side skirts as well as the mud guard that goes right here, and that allows us to pull this flap down and have an easy access to the bolts sitting back there. We'll go over that in a second. Okay, so just like factory, you want to make sure that your end is going to be facing towards you when you're installing it. We can see it right here. And then your nut is going to be sitting on this side. The bolt head is going to be on the other side. We're going to go ahead and slide it back into its lodging, making sure those two align. And we always do the top first, making it easier to do the next operation. Next up, we're going to go ahead and insert our 2 upper bolts. We have our 2 18mm nuts right here. So it's going to go ahead and slide right into its lodging, right here. And once that's in place, we can go ahead and thread the bolts right up here and right up there, making sure that it holds the assembly up. The valve should be facing towards the rear of the vehicle, and your end is going to be facing towards you outside of the car. For the rear, when you're going to put the lower part on, since the shock is pressurized, you're not going to be able to compress it like a regular shock. So what we're going to do is we're going to adjust the vehicle height using our jack or our vehicle lift, and adjust it so that everything fits together properly. Next up, now that we have everything positioned here, we're going to go ahead and slide it right into the lower support. It should fit nice and snug. Then we're going to take our bolts, insert it from the outside in, and then we can go ahead and start threading our outside nuts. Once again, here you want to make sure that you have blue Loctite on. That's just an extra safety to make sure that nothing moves, and then torque it back to factory spec. For the front, we're going to start with the top upper support. We're going to go ahead and slide our shock in, line everything up, take our bolt with Loctite on it, slide it through, and we can go ahead and thread it by hand. And now that we have the top just threaded in a little bit, we're going to go ahead and do the bottom. For your lower support, we're going to line it up using the jack to make sure that your bottom hole right here is lined up with our shock support. Just a quick tip, if you're struggling to get the vehicle high enough, you can go ahead and lift both sides at the same time, which is going to make sure that your sway bar is not being pre-constrained from one side to the other. So if you lift both up, you're going to gain enough space to go ahead and slide it in nice and easy. So now we make sure that we have Loctite, same thing, at the top of our bolts. And we can go ahead and slide it in and start threading it by hand. Once that's done, we're going to go ahead and thread it all the way. Same with the top support. Please note that your end is going to be facing towards you once again on this side, and the valve is going to be facing towards you and not towards the vehicle. So once all of this is tightened up, we're going to go ahead and torque it to factory spec, and you're all good to go. We want to make sure that our upper valve is facing towards us and is always at the top of the vehicle, and your end should be facing towards you as well. That's how you can tell the left side from the right side for both the front and the rear, is that end is going to be facing towards you when you're doing the install. All right, we're all done. Now this vehicle is ready to go and attack the trails of Morocco. Have a good day, everyone.